Yes, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the Hardwork Project Podcast, the podcast show where we look at the journeys of professional athletes and what it really takes. We ask the question what it really takes to become a professional athlete. You know, before we start, I just want to say thank you for your continued support, and ask you to check us out, on our YouTube channel and our Patreon. Patreon at TheHardworkProject.podcast.com. Like on there, we've got exclusive content. We got free merchandise when you join up, and extra merchandise, exclusive content behind the scenes, and a whole host of other stuff, and we really appreciate the support. It helps to keep the lights on, pay the bills, and make sure I can keep on producing more content for you guys. So, with that said, I want to introduce you to today's guest. He's somebody that's played football at elite level for many years, and he's played for some household names, I'd say, in football, like Charlton, Blackpool, Sheffield Wednesday, so he's played at a top level. So I really want you to welcome him on, and I want to really welcome you on. Thank you for coming and joining us. We have Wade Small, like I said, MK Dons legend, Blackpool, Sheffield Wednesday, Charlton, like he really did this thing, coming from South London, we know what South London's like, you really did it, so again, thanks for coming on and joining us.
My pleasure, man.
Tell your story.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, like coming from Croydon and stuff, and really just, how did you, like, tell us, like, just
so from the beginning?
Just a little bit of the beginning and
caption.
Catch us up,
So, basically started at Crystal Palace.
Okay.
Went over to Crystal Palace. I was playing for 5 teams or whatever it was, like school and everything else. And it started off at Crystal Palace, basically professional team, at the age of 8, and then went to Wimbledon when I was 9. And then from there, just stuck it all out, and then got a pro contract at Wimbledon, got youth team, obviously. When you leave school, got my YTS, and then got a pro contract. And then from there, kind of went on to play for, obviously, the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, Blackpool, was at Charlton for a tiny bit as well, Chesterfield, Aldershot, and then just had to retire early just due to injury. Okay. But had a decent length of a career as well. So
that's what I really wanted you to get out and like tell us about, because you mentioned, I mentioned them as well, but you mentioned about 5 or 6 clubs. So you really had a football journey. You really experienced what it was like to play at elite level, and unfortunately, like you say, it was cut short by injuries and knee injuries. So really want to find out just about that, how that affected what could have been a burgeoning career and stuff, and like, was it as soon as you got your injury, was it over, or was it you tried to stay in?
I tried to. What I'd say is, obviously, throughout my career, I've had like little niggles and injuries and stuff. I had my first operation on my knee when I was 17 years old, and that was due to just a meniscus tear, which was only small, but can hinder, obviously, your performance. So I actually played on it for a little bit, just to the end of the season, and then had the operation at the end of the season, then came back, and then it weren't quite right because I still had swelling in my knee. So from then, I kind of ended up having another operation. So I had almost like 2 operations on the same knee, but one was shaving of the cartilage, and then the second one was almost like a clear out of all the debris in my knee, and then trying to work out why I've gotten this swelling. So a little bit of knee troubles, but then from that I was fine. It was a thing like young, recover fast, and then come back strong as well. And obviously with the physio setups that we had at Wimbledon in the day, this was like, I'm talking Wimbledon like crazy gang Wimbledon growing up.
Because you was part of that.
Because I'm 37 now, so when I was there, it was a few years ago now. So just growing up, obviously playing football, playing hard as well. And then I think it's a lot better now with the kids as such, because it's sort of monitored a bit better. Whereas you'd just be, you play football literally till the sun comes up, till it goes down, and then with the floodlights and everything else. So I don't think that kind of added to. I think that kind of added to like wear and tear in joints and stuff like that.
And I suppose you was in a, like you say, Wimbledon, the crazy gang, and that is probably one of the most like manly macho environments.
Yeah,
so you had
yeah.
to be tough. You know,
Exactly.
you
That's
couldn't
it.
just my knee.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was obviously growing up there, obviously with the crazy gang. I'm not the tallest player as well, so with not being the tallest player, was a crazy gang were a lot known for height and strong players as well. So I had to be super aggressive, and I was very explosive. I could jump high, sprint fast as well. So
you
I had
actually
to carry that on.
You actually made your debut for Wimbledon, right?
Yeah. Wimbledon, like Coventry away.
Coventry. How old were you?
I think I was 18 or just turned 19.
Okay.
And again, it was a bit of bad luck. Just through sort of bits in my career where I've just got niggles at the wrong time. Because I was meant to make my debut when I was 17. But I always remember, I never let this go, that I got injured in a reserve game against Southampton. A player clamped me on my ankle. And I mean, the physios were trying their hardest to get me back for the last game of the season, because usually when you are in a setup, like when you're 17 back in the day, you'll be like 17. Not many players get to have a first team experience, and they wanted me to play the last game of the season or play a part of it as well. So that was set up. But after 8 weeks, like with my ankle, I literally even tried to run after 8 weeks, still couldn't come back. It was still hurting me. I think he must have like ruptured some ligaments and stuff.
That's a proper introduction into the men's game.
Yeah, of course.
Which,
like
I suppose they don't really get that no more.
No,
System
that's it. So you got to think of me being like 17. I could be coming against some hardened veteran, 32 or 35. And I remember literally, I think we played Fulham maybe the week before that, and I remember playing against was it Chris Coleman that used to play for Palace? And his legs were literally the size of tree trunks. And me being 17, like I'm maybe obviously got a lot more muscle now because I train that way. But me being 17, I was skinny but rapid. Coming against people like that, obviously in the game was it was a shock. But at that age, when you're that quick and obviously having to come against players that are strong, you just have to adapt and start getting strong, because that's what Wimbledon is about as well. It's about being like, you be fast, skillful and strong at the same time. So we kind of adopted that, and there was a lot of players like that, and there's a lot of people that came from Wimbledon that people probably don't even know of, that are like legends today, that we think of that are legends anyway. And people that didn't even actually get a chance to succeed as high as they want to, who are legends, like a Lionel Morgan, who's like probably the best player that anyone's ever seen.
I've
but no
heard
one,
about the legend
this
of
is what
Lionel.
I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And even now, he'd be like half injured, and he'd be better than a lot of pros that are out there, believe me. And he's one that probably, I guess, I don't think he was pissed that he didn't make it, because he doesn't seem that sort of type. Quite humble in himself. And I think for him, he kind of inspired a lot of players, including myself, obviously, to be quick, be strong, be skillful, be like the best player that I can. And there was a few pros that I used to look up to, that I think I owe a lot to my career and how I developed as a player as well. And some of them get unnoticed just because they're not in the limelight, or because they don't get to a certain level. But a lot of these players that don't get to the certain level, people will obviously go to take the piss and be like, the pub is, I could have got this player. But they don't actually realise how good these actual players were. They just they've made it a butt of the joke rather than actually seeing it for what it is. Because us in football will know, like real people in football know who's a baller and know who's not.
And I suppose football is one of those things there where you can be the best footballer, but there's always going to be, there can always be things that are off the field that can detract, that have nothing to do with football, that mean that you don't get to where you're supposed to go.
100%.
Whether it's injuries, attitude, a little, maybe it's a bit of complacency. Do you understand? With having it so early and having so much. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So there's a number of things that, a number of reasons why really talented players don't really get to where they're trying, where they want to get to. You know what I mean? So, like you say, Lionel. I know about the legend of Lionel. And how he was that injury basically forced him out of the game. And probably one of the best players that we'd never get to see play the game. So that's a big shout out to you, Lionel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He did actually, well, he played for was it England under 21s or 19s, I think it was. So he was very well known. You probably asked Harry Redknapp, who Lionel Morgan is to this day, he'll probably tell you.
Yeah.
Because he come in for him, I think it was once or twice when he was at Tottenham and he came in for him. So he's definitely known and known across the board.
Yeah. So, you know what, it kind of brings us on to kind of an interesting question or something that I want to know, because obviously players like yourself, players like Lionel, yourself, like who, had the ability, and I think probably, let's say you probably even got further than Lionel in terms of, making your pro debut, playing, I'm sure you played like over 300 to 400 pro games as a pro athlete. So how does it, but we know that obviously unless you play Premiership or top Championship, and also your career, like you say, finished early. How do you assimilate, and what do you do after that? Do you understand? How do you continue? Because like I say, unless you're in the Prem or the Championship, you have to go out and get a job, or go out and work, or go and find something to keep doing.
So I can obviously, I can tell you how you would, but in terms of people's lives, sometimes people's lives map out differently. So I could say, someone could tell me, look, this is what you have to do when you retire.
Yeah.
But my lifestyle or what's happened in my life might not take me down that route. Whereas for me, it was very hard, obviously. I knew my knee was kind of buggered.
Yeah.
And it was coming to an abrupt end as well. And then at the same time, whilst I was in football, my knee was, I think I was like at Chesterfield. And then it was kind of disheartening that they were telling me that I had a degenerative knee. That basically saying that it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse, basically. And then at that same time, I got told in that same sort of period that my dad got cancer. Okay. So as soon as I found that out, I didn't want to play. I didn't want to play football anymore. I wanted to be down in London for my dad, and I felt like I've been taken away because I've been up north for so long and in the Midlands for so long. And me, I'm a family person, so I wanted to be by my dad's side. As soon as you hear that your dad, like now you're like, as soon as you hear that your dad's got cancer, you're just thinking the worst thing. Yeah. You don't know when he's going to die. You don't know what's going to happen.
And you've been away from home from a young age,
this is
football.
And been away from the age of 19. 19 we was away, and having to just be thrown into this sort of deep end to be like, right, go get a mortgage. Yeah. Like you haven't got hardly anything to back you. Yeah. You've just been on a contract that's like £350 a week, and you feel like that's the most money in the world. When you're younger back in the day.
Yeah, because the average 17, 18, 19 isn't making that.
This is it. You know so, what I mean? We come from there and then going to just thrown into the deep end to be like, right, it's a big step. Like now we're in the first team. We was in League One. We just came from the Championship, got relegated. As Wimbledon, and then obviously we transitioned then to MK Dons. So it was a big process for that to happen. So when I was actually going back, when I'm actually retiring now, with my dad, with the degenerative knee at that time, I didn't want to be up there. I wanted to be in London. So all my emphasis was, nothing mattered to me at that time. Yeah. Everything mattered to me is about being around my dad and my mum, because I missed out so much because obviously I had to grow up quick. Yeah. Right. Go get a mortgage by yourself. Go do all of this stuff by yourself. You'll speak to most 19-year-olds today. Some of them can't even cook for themselves. So you got to think of that. And then when I come out of the game, it was like a very big shock to me, because then when I did come out of the game, that was 3 years later, and that's when my dad actually died. So my dad died. I had a kid on the way, and I retired all within the same month, and I just turned 30. So all within like 2-3 months, I'd say. Just like all of that happened. So I found out that I was having a kid. My dad died 3 days before my birthday, and then I had to retire as well because of my knee. So coming from that, not obviously earning the same money that I was, and then coming out of that, it's almost like, right, what do I do next? I've been playing football, remember, since I was 8 years old. So I've known nothing else. And when you play football and you love it, you put every single inch of it, every inch of your life into it.
You have to, just to make it.
This is what I'm saying.
You have to.
So it's like a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice stuff. And I don't take anything back from that. I won't go back and be like, I wish I didn't do that, blah, blah. Like, I don't go down that route. I love my journey, all the mistakes or whatever. It's not nothing. I don't look at stuff even as mistakes. It's just a learning curve. So for me, when I did retire, it was a big shock because I was like, shit, what do I do now? Like, I'm not like got all these A levels that I could just, I'm just going to jump into this. I haven't got, my talent was literally football and I used to love training. So now I have to find a passion that matches that. So that's when I then obviously got in contact with Gavin Hero, and he was doing courses. So I thought, you know what, the best thing for me to do is actually give back. I tried coaching for a bit, and I didn't really, because I take things pretty serious and I'm very disciplined, because I've always been disciplined at a club from a professional age of like 8 years old all the way through my whole entire career. I weren't getting that back from certain players or at the level that it was at. So I thought to myself, for me personally, people might want to do it. For me, it worked for me.
Yeah,
like I was like,
do you know what it is? It's funny because I was having a joke with my friend in it, and we were saying like, there's this clip of Henry where he's in America and he's on the sideline and he's trying to coach these Americans and he's going mad on the sideline. Most coaches do it, but it's like, Henry, he knows what a baller he was, innit? And these lot, they just ain't got the technique. They can't do it.
This is what I'm saying.
So it was just
gets
like,
frustrated.
you could see like he was just getting frustrated. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? He's getting mad. So I can understand it.
Like,
you need someone to match that. You need players who want to match that level of.
That's it. That commitment as well, and obviously that sacrifice, which, not that I didn't. I kind of felt like I wasn't getting, but they just didn't take for me. They just didn't take it serious enough. So it wasn't a thing of I wanted to strive to be better. It was just accepting, okay, I'm at this club, so I'm okay. I'm like, me, I was never happy, but I always wanted to go bigger and better. I always wanted to strive to do bigger things. And I just didn't feel that. So getting into training and training athletes and stuff is perfect for me, because I get that instant sacrifice. I get that instant hunger straight away, and top athletes as well. So that's where we're at today. And
So tell us more about that. Like, obviously you mentioned it. I know you got champions in action.
So basically, me and another ex-footballer have got a facility now in Rugby that we dedicate to training athletes, like strength and conditioning, strength and performance, and just coaching, even mindset coming down to it as well, which in some cases you don't get with sort of like just the average PT, I would say.
Yes.
I mean, you could get the average PT, that's very good, but then with us, obviously you got the experience of being an actual professional footballer, being in there, like had operations, come from literally not even being able to walk, now going actually to an elite level and sprinting up and down the field and getting to that level, which is very hard. And I think people underestimate, because I think nowadays is all about the glitz and glamour. You see the stuff on the Saturday, you don't really see the stuff behind. This is it, like the training, there could be days like remember that athletes and everyone else that's doing this, we just have a talent. Some people's talents in banking, some people's talents in maths, some people's talents in speaking to public people. We have a talent with our bodies. We're exactly the same people. So there might be times, imagine when you don't feel like going to work. So what about when we have times where we don't feel like training, but we still have to train? So there's no two ways about it. This is why the whole mental health thing, especially with athletes, comes into play as well, which people are starting to see that it affects them as well. And you can't just treat an athlete like basically you can just use them and spit them out. Oh yeah, they're not doing this, and why they're not doing this, and but I'm like, hold up a sec, let me go to your job and put you under some pressure. Let me see how you're doing on one day that you can't be bothered to get up. Or sometimes obviously emotions affect you as well, and you don't know what's going on outside of your actual job. Maybe your dog died, maybe someone in your family died. At the same time, when I was at Sheffield Wednesday, I was getting a hamstring reoccurrence injury as well. And there was remember me, I'm a family person, so I've always grown up in my grandparents' house. And at that time, in the beginning, my granddad passed away through cancer, prostate cancer. And then my gran, when they say like died of a broken heart, exactly the same thing. Like she basically, as soon as my granddad died, that was it. She was out. My gran died when I was at Sheffield Wednesday. Then having that, my dad's dad then died from cancer. Then 3 years later, my dad got cancer. Then he died 3 years later after that from cancer. So all of these things can affect the game, and obviously emotions in your body and your recovery in order to rehabilitate yourself to get back to playing at an elite level. But some people just don't get that. And that's the problem with it as well, that comes along with football. And you're starting to see it big. Even, I think, is it Jesse Lingard is coming out talking about, like, believe me, there is way more players than that, but people just don't want to come out. Because it's almost like in football, because of the crowd and because of people in there, you have to come across like tough.
Yeah, and because,
like if you get hit and
you're getting paid
this is
handsomely,
it. This is
people
it.
expect
This
you
is
to
it.
be tough. I mean, listen, like in the news the other day, there's the tennis girl.
Yeah, I saw that.
Naomi Osaka, who's just come out and said she didn't want to give press conferences.
And now she's getting fined 15 grand.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? That's a good thing for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Like just a sidebar for us to sidebar on, because like I get it. Mental health is important. Do you understand? Yeah, me. But also, I feel that it's part of what you're going into.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's part being able to deal with the press, deal with the media. It's part of being a champion. It's why Serena is Serena or Venus is Serena, because they can train hard, win matches, and deal with. Do you understand? So I feel so. Although it's tough on her and tough having to come and say to people why you lost, I think that's what the sport is. That's what the sport is about. Or that's
like
why
you're entitled to ask them questions.
Yeah, that's why the sponsors pay money. That's why you have such a big fan base and all that. So, but again, like you say.
Yeah, I think especially with her, I read that yesterday, and she was talking about obviously the mental health side of it, and obviously the pressures that they get from the press afterwards and stuff like that. And I think there is two sides of it. Like, you can have that interview, and then you can come across a certain way. Then all of a sudden, they start running with the words and stuff that how you're feeling. Sometimes you might not be emotionally there, but you have to sort of then conduct yourself within a manner to show. But remember, some people are real, and whatever they put in front of the camera, sometimes they might be pissed off that they don't want to talk after the game. Like, they're not going to then jump in front of the camera and be like, oh yeah, I'm this happy person. Like, if a person's real and really they don't want to be doing that, sometimes they just don't want to. And sometimes they may think it might come across offensive if I come across real moody and real bad after a game. So now I'm going to look like a sore loser or anything like that.
I do think that, though, like, obviously, sometimes when you hear interviews, people aren't necessarily always being themselves.
No, not at all.
Well, I don't know about in other sports. You understand? Boxing, definitely. Boxers are definitely just off the hip. You understand? But sometimes when you hear a footballer interview, it's very rigid and routine,
like
scripted,
innit?
Scripted. It's the scripted lines, and it's a bit. Sometimes you want to see more of their personality.
I think they're almost. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think they're almost not scared. Scared is a bad word. I think they're almost a little bit optimistic, and they're a little bit worried about how they're going to come across.
Yeah, if they don't say these certain
this is what I'm saying.
Key words or key lines.
This is what I'm saying. So sometimes they have to watch, because then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and your name's in the paper because how you're coming across. So then all of a sudden now you're getting that in the paper, people reading it, then people are like shouting at you. So like you're getting all this abuse for no reason, and they don't even know you. They don't even come across in the interview as such. So I think that's what's going through some people's heads as such, and they think, oh, maybe I don't really want to say that because I might offend someone, and maybe I don't. Like, really, if you just let him talk, and
it could be,
it might start getting sticky for some people, because they'll just be like, well, he's crap, he's this, he's that, or somebody, they might say some negative stuff that someone don't like, but then if you want them to be real, you can't have it two ways. You either wanted it scripted, or you want him to come in and just talk the truth. So it's either one or the two. You can't have. It's almost like I think, what's his name? I'm not even good with players' names. What's the blonde guy at Borussia Dortmund? Is it Haaland?
Haaland, yeah.
Him. Have you seen his interviews?
Yeah. He don't care, does he?
Not one single bit.
He's very blunt, like.
Not one single bit. He'll literally turn around and just be like, I see him doing an interview, and the guy asked him a question, and he looked around at the other guy and was like, what do you want me to say? And he's asking him, and he turned around again. He's like, what kind of question was that? What else you want?
He's that
he
good.
He knows.
Yeah,
he knows
who he
exactly.
Is,
this is what I'm saying.
It's difficult for people, but you have to be that guy. You have to know who you are. You understand what you stand for, and you get comfortable in, because I believe it is part of it. Like, maybe more needs to be trained, and again, it's a different time. like when you were playing, there wasn't social media, so
Yeah,
you didn't
that's
have
it.
to deal with it in the same way.
Just
whereas
straight
now,
up someone messaging you.
Yeah, and
all there
on
was
some
a little bit of
front,
Facebook.
yeah.
I think just about when I was at Sheffield Wednesday was like Facebook and stuff, and I think I was on it for a little bit, and then I was like, nah.
Yeah, because you probably
I was just like, everyone was like, there was people requesting me, and then it got to a stage where people were sort of telling you how to play, and don't want none of that.
Yeah.
Just came off.
Do you know what? Yeah, I saw. I know he's one of your brethren still, Rio Coke at Nigel.
Yeah.
And I saw him. He was on Sky Sports News, and he was giving an interview about all this social media stuff and that. And they asked him about how he deals with trolls and how he deals with stuff like that. And he said, to be honest, I'm not really on social media that much, but I am, and I keep it for my friends and my family and stuff like that. But he said, I'm a normal person. So, like, one day, like, I might get a message and it's nothing to me, but one day I might get a message and I might want to tell you, and I might just tell you to...
This is it. This is it.
That's it. And now that's who I... So,
that's human beings, though. That's human beings. I could come to you one day and I could say to you, like for instance, you could be driving in a car, right? Someone might be like, you might pull in front of someone or something. Or someone might pull in front of you. One day you might be like, oh, he just pulled in front of me. Like, I've done that before.
Yeah.
The next day, that same thing could happen. You might be like, oh, what are you doing? Blah. This is it. This is the reaction that people get.
Yes.
So it's just realizing that everyone's human at the end of the day. And because someone gets 150 to 250 whatever grand a week, he's still a human being at the end of the day. Because there's people, we got to remember, there's people on a lot more money than them that are a lot more arrogant and doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just that the spotlight is on.
And it's, I think it's the whole thing with sport in general. It's that fascination with sportsmen and women, and that fascination of to be the perfect athlete and to look the perfect and to smile, and if someone's abusing you, to smile at them, and sometimes you don't want to smile. Like I just saw the other day when I think it was a basketball player, was it for Celtic, and he got a bottle thrown at him, and he's come out on the interview and said, look, we're all humans, like you need to kind of respect when you come to the game of basketball, to respect the players, because we are humans at the end of the day, and respect the players and respect each other. And he was saying, look, I don't even think your mum will be happy with doing something like that. Like the guy hurled the bottle. I was like, but what if it slapped him in the face, or it broke his nose, or it done something? Now, for you getting upset at a game or throwing something at him, now you're going to go to jail, or GBH, or whatever it actually is that you'll go to jail for. Is it worth it?
It's ridiculous still.
Yeah.
There's some real twats in the world. So, but what advice would you give for any young player coming through who has to deal with stuff like social media and mental health and stuff like that? Because I know that you're big on it with what you do in your.
I would say in terms of social media, I would like, if you're that much into your career, you wouldn't get into it. But what purpose would it have in your career? So in terms of how you would want to conduct yourself and how disciplined and how driven you were, add that up to you seeing a post, depending the type of person that you are. If you're an emotional person and you react to stuff, then would there be any need for social media and to put yourself out there? If there's loads of players that don't put themselves out there and just get on with things. But there is the player that's then possibly emotional and is a bit sensitive, but they still then put themselves out there. So maybe that's the reason why they're putting themselves out there, because it's a lack of sort of self-confidence to actually get some confidence feedback from someone to go on their social media and to say, oh, you played really good today. Oh, I love your skills, blah, blah, blah. So they actually want to hear that as such. Those type of players maybe shouldn't go on social media, and the players that just are confident in themselves and just put up clips or whatever, and if you're going to get abused.
You need to be thick-skinned, basically, if you want to get on there. Because it is like, you can't legislate for a
small percentage.
Or some, this is it. What I'm trying to say to you. So.
And it is a small percentage of people that do it, and they're always going to be there. Let's be real. So I think you've got to be thick-skinned.
And reduce it to what it is, innit?
Yeah.
It's someone who is invisible. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? They're probably overweight. You get what I'm trying to say to you? Ain't kicked the ball, ain't done nothing good with their life. Do you understand? You get me? And they're on.
Yeah, and this is how some people.
You need to put it into perspective, really, and you know what I mean?
think you got to look at it. I think as an athlete, I think you as a top athlete, how far you want to get, wherever you are in your career. I think you got to look at it like that. How much does social media mean to you compared to your career?
Yeah.
And weigh it up like that. If your career means way more, then you wouldn't be reacting to anything online. Just get on with your job. You got football or rugby or whatever you're gonna do. That's your main focus. Go and do that.
Yeah.
And don't even need to reply to any of the trolls or anything like that. Put anything out there. Usually, a lot of the top athletes have people that are managing their social media accounts anyway.
Yeah.
So with that, then you don't need to get on. You just get on with your career and stay focused, stay disciplined. And then obviously with all of that comes sacrifice, and that sacrifice might be not being on social media.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? Really, if it is that much of a problem to you, then
that's it.
You
Come
need
off.
to bin it. Yeah.
Just bin it, because really you don't want it to.
It's a
if it starts affecting your career, then really how important is it?
Yeah.
Is being on social media more important than your career? Yeah. Then if it is, then you shouldn't be in your career.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very valid point. You know what? I want to ask you another question.
Yeah.
I dropped this in my last podcast, but I'm going to try and drop it clearer now so that it's understood and it drops. I always say to people, to my youngers in general, I always say to them, all right, don't do anything I would do. No, sorry. See, look, let me say it properly. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
But don't do anything I would do either. But if you do, use protection. You know what I mean? So what I mean by that basically is like, is there anything that maybe you did when you was a young player coming up, or this and the other, that you would be telling younger players now not to do? Or if you are doing, do this way. Do you understand what I'm saying? To try to be better. Like, what kind
of course. I think with any ex-athlete or whatever, there's a lot of mistakes that are made. But sometimes what you would want, you can, like, I have a son as well, right? And you can guide them as much as you want. Yeah. But at the end of the day, these kids, and they got to make their own mistakes in order to learn in life as well. Yeah. So I can suggest certain stuff. You might not listen, but you'll come across it in your career. Yeah. So you might be able to see it before it actually comes to light, before you then react to it. Yeah. So you might be able to be like, oh, this is what you're talking about. Let me swerve that, move out of the way of that. So there are stuff like, even in the case of like back in the day, obviously would say going out and drinking. I think now at the top level where the fitness is so high, I think sort of later on in my career, that sort of didn't play effect, like the drinking and stuff like that. So it was, I wouldn't say like drinking like I'm an alcoholic, but like just the odd going out here and there. Sometimes it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't worth like going out and obviously when you drink, it dehydrates you, so then it affects your performance and stuff like that. So just, I think, not that I'm saying not have a drink, but a lot of the foreign players that I come across within the game, French players and such, they didn't really drink. Yeah. But I think it was almost like an English mentality type thing growing up in the sport. Old school was like that type thing. Yeah. And I don't think it needs to play a part. And I think it only hinders you in the long run when you're actually trying to perform at an elite level. So I think even that, stay away from drinks and just some people in general, if they're trying to lead you, go with your intuition. That's not really, I kind of don't do it. Like, don't second guess what you feel inside. You can never second guess what you feel inside. If you have a feeling inside, it's coming. Where's it coming from? So then why are you second guessing it? Again, just go with your intuition as well. And then just stay in discipline. I think with that as well, I think trying to stay conditioned, for me, you see it a lot in sort of abroad, in America, Australia, Germany, stuff like this. Staying in condition and proper looking after your body. Like, I'm talking about now, people do it a lot, but now watching what you eat, watching the things that you're putting in, watching the things that you're saying, watching the things that are actually going into your mind as well. And just watching a lot of that and taking things obviously a lot more serious at the time as well. Because and believing, I think there's a couple of times where I got injured and it hit my confidence a lot. and I don't think I end up believing in myself as much as some people were looking at me thinking, you can do this, you can do that, but then my confidence was knocked because of my injuries.
Yeah.
So therefore I was like, down again and down in the dumps, and I'd pull myself back up, down again, pull myself back up. So I think, again, that whole staying positive and actually believing in yourself, like I think a lot of American athletes show that confidence and believe in themselves. A lot of foreign players believe in themselves. So I think keeping the confidence high and believing in yourself is a major thing in sport. And knowing yourself as well, knowing your ability and believing in yourself, knowing your ability will take you a long way.
Yeah. I think that's a key one that you mentioned there when you say about believing in yourself, because I do always say to players, and like, football is a game of opinions and critics. There's like, everyone's a pundit, everyone's got a opinion or criticism of football, even down to the coaches that you play for. But ultimately, I don't know, I can't tell you how good you are going to be or how good you can be, you know what I mean? You have to believe that. You have to know who you are and how good you can be and what you want to be. You have to have the belief. It doesn't matter whether A or B believes in you. Do you understand it? It all starts from within, you know what I mean? And you have to make people believe, with your actions.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
I think that's definitely a major key, is belief in your own.
Yeah, 100%. That definitely goes a long way. And you come across, like me, for instance, you come across some players that actually kind of reinstall some of that in you as well. Because when you're in a youth team, you're just coming up, and because you're loving life and there's not that much pressure being youth. There is pressure because obviously you either get your pro contract early or you have to work for it within the YTS system. So I think that you kind of believe in yourself. You have ups and downs. It's a bit different. You're 16 years old, just coming out of school.
Yeah. But then you're playing,
developing. It's
fun.
Free. Yeah, exactly.
But I guess at a certain stage, I don't know what stage or what age it is, or whether it's your second or third contract, it's a job. You understand? It kind of and it becomes to feel like a job, more.
It can do. And I think that's a massive problem as well. Is that it becomes a job thing. If it stays at being fun, and stays, you can stay hungry, and it stays being fun, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more, and you'll probably see players flourishing a lot more. Like, I would love to see, imagine if you could do the season now, and all the players that have actually like surprised people with no fans there, that's less pressure. I would like to see exactly the same situation, but put fans there, let them play the same. It's different, like the time, put it back and put all the fans there and see how the players are, and see who's actually like, okay, well, his performance might have gone down just because of fans. So that plays a major factor as well. So I think some players have actually flourished.
I'm writing off this season. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm writing off this season anyway, you get me? I said it from the start of the season. City would win it, just simply because of the fact there's no fans, there's no pressure. It becomes like a training game, and it becomes the best 11 will win. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? Because you haven't got that 12th man there. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So it's just literally the best 11 players, 9 times out of 10 are supposed to win. And
honestly, fans can lift. Fans can like really pay a major impact. And I think the message should go out there.
All the young players who made their debut in this period here now, like, I think they're
going to be into a shock when the fans come back.
It might be all right because they've played now and they've played with the players and with the first team. So it will be a bit of a shock, but at least they've got some sort of rhythm. You know what I mean? Whereas you know what it is like.
You see playing in front of fans.
It's a different thing.
It's a total different ballgame. There could be players that have made their debut and there'd be no fans. And do you know what it's almost be like back in the day? It'd be like a reserve game when there's hardly anyone there. Then when you go to, now you're up to the first team, and then like when I went to, because I played a reserve, so I played a reserve game, and it was against Coventry, actually away. Then I stayed in a hotel, then met the team bus halfway up to Coventry, and then that's when I was made my first team debut. So I played Coventry, I think it was maybe day before or something. And then I played the actual game for the first team. I made my debut against Coventry away as well. So when I done that, obviously you're playing against Coventry reserve, doing loads of balling, hardly any fans there. Then, and I was 90, like if you see my face, baby face, coming on, and then with all those fans there, is way different. Like the pitch seems way bigger. And you almost feel like sometimes you have more time on the ball than you do, but then you're hear the fans, and then you're like heightened, your senses heightened. It's almost like when you're walking down and you can feel someone looking at you. So
everyone's looking at you.
This is what I'm saying. So you got everyone, and you can hear them screaming. Like if someone's behind you, you won't hear. Normally you're just hearing reserve game, man on. One person. You'll hear it from everyone. If it's from your team, man on. And if you lose the ball, it's like, oh, get up and get that ball. So you got that. You're not just with my mum. My mum was there telling me to get up, go get that ball when I was younger. Now you got get up, go. And it just brings in a whole different meaning. And honestly, you cannot take fans out of the game. It's not the same.
It's a different game.
It's a total different game.
I totally agree with you. And again, I think this is why managers wait till that 89th minute for this kid to make their debut or this and the other, because obviously they want to give you a taste, but they don't want you to they don't want it to overwhelm you. You know what I mean? They don't want it to overwhelm you. They obviously they trust you because they're putting you on, but they don't trust you. You know what I mean? So
you're like, he's young. Let me see how he does.
You put the ball, you pass the ball, and the ball goes under your leg straight away. Like everyone's looking at the man,
like, oh, who is this? Who is this you put on?
You know what I mean? So it's like.
But that's what. But then you got to remember that's what like good managers as well end up doing that, because they'll have someone, and then people will just realize like, why they not put on this player yet? Why they not put on that player yet? And they'll wait till like 15 minutes because they know like, right, this person's getting tired. Because they're not sitting there and just watch. They don't remember. Managers don't just watch the game. They're analysing the game. So they're analysing. Right, I can see the left back's getting tired. Right, let me bring on the whippet. Let me bring on this person. Right, he'll just run at him. And this one player could end up lifting the game. Like we played Southampton away, and they had Bale and they had Walcott playing. Walcott weren't coming on yet. Bale was started. Walcott, when did he come on? He was like 69th, 70 minute. Completely changed the game. Because they knew, they were like, well, I don't need to start him, but I'm going to bring him on at a certain time. Completely changed the game. I'm sure he scored and then set up the other goal. And it was a massive, and this is when Walcott was very young as well. I think he was like 17, like rapid. It was at Southampton away. So that they're very smart in how they do that, and you'll see with certain managers that they may not look like they know what they're doing, but because you're watching it from a fan's point of view, you're not realizing that he's analyzing the game, and right, this person, and obviously sometimes they make mistakes. So, but that's tactics and stuff. It doesn't always work out.
Okay, before we wrap up, I don't even know how long we've been here for, but before we wrap up, I want you to just tell us a little bit more about the Champions in Action. I know that you're training some elite athletes down there. I'm going to try and bring the Hardwork Project cameras down there and come and get a little, filming.
Anytime, man. Anytime, you're welcome.
Down there as well. You know what I mean? But just tell us a bit more about the work and the type of athletes that you're working with.
Yeah, I mean, we got all types of athletes, really. We got boxers, we got footballers, we had golf players, netball players, we've got like a range of different sports as well, which is good. Some runners as well. And what we're doing is obviously training athletes. Some of them might either be coming back from injury, because you remember some of these athletes are not getting sort of the needs and requirements that they need, because not all teams, especially football, have the setup of Man City. They have maybe 5-6 physios with 4 masseurs and this and that. So there are some lower division clubs that do need help. And we're here to obviously help with our experience and getting like conditioning for players as well. And even just for now, just getting players ready for pre-season to go into. And even going back to your one earlier on, that's another thing, is actually starting your conditioning before pre-season.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be like, right, turn up.
Pre-season.
turn up pre-season. That's when I'm. That's when I'm getting fit. Now
yeah.
it's like I'm getting
Athletes
fit.
know,
This is it. I'm a fit before pre-season comes, and I'm using pre-season to actually just condition a little bit better. But I'm already fit, so that's what we're doing at the minute. Is actually getting players ready, fit, strong for pre-season, because you can't go from just having a rest from the season and just going straight in. So yeah, doing that. And yeah, we have like a sand pit in our place. We have a boxing ring. We have like a punch bag. We've got obviously a strength rig, like a CrossFit strength rig from Bulldog. We have AstroTurf. We've got massive outdoor area as well. So we got all the gadgets and stuff for getting people fit.
If there's any elite athletes watching or need to come and get in contact with you guys, what do they need to do, or how do
I mean, we're on Instagram, champions.in.action. And then obviously my page is smallz_WKS. And you can see obviously
I'll have it going across the bottom.
You can see obviously some action of me. Obviously when I come out of football, I started lifting some weights, getting my body strong and stuff, because I just love training, so I kept that going. And then obviously the Champions in Action page and my page, we have In Shape, who's part of the team as well, who's Nathan Kabooth. And then we got Amy St. Ledger as well, who's part of the team. And you can see their Instagrams as well. And they have obviously athletes on their training as well. So we have a wide range. We got a few boxers, and we got like a few footballers at the minute as well. So we're just doing our bit to give back, really. Once we've now retired with all this experience, it'd be a waste to be sitting in the office and obviously doing an office job when we've got all this knowledge and experience that we can then pass on from mentally and physically. So yeah, champions.in.action. And then we've got obviously my page as well. And then we've got our website as well, championsinAction.co.uk. And that'll be up on the Instagram as well. So,
yeah, man. So it sounds like you lot are doing some good work down there, some crazy work. You know what I mean, and giving back. You know what I mean, which is what it's all about. And again, using the talents that you're gifted with, because I often get annoyed with people who have talent, have God-given talent, even in whatever it is. You know what I mean. But let's take football, because that's where we are. You know what I mean. You've done football, you play football till you're 19, till you're 20, till whatever, and maybe it didn't work out for you playing as a player, but your talent, your strength, your still lies in sport and in football, and you still have, if you played it till you're 19, till you're 20, you've got degree level experience. You know what I mean?
This is it.
In that, so you have a lot to give back, but you just need to just tap into it, sort of probably just try to get over disappointments, sooner, and just get on it, because there's still a lot of life.
Definitely.
After football, in sport, you know what I mean? So
I think we're especially tapping into the younger generation, because we're training younger elite athletes as well. And that's, for me, is a really good thing as well, because obviously, like I said, I got a 15-year-old son, so tapping into younger kids, especially like hungry ones as well, that want to be a footballer, want to be a top athlete. And I think not the younger the better, but actually having this side, not just go out and kick a football, having this side of conditioning and knowing their body and getting stronger. They're not necessarily lifting weights and a lot of band stuff, and knowing their body and doing bodyweight stuff. Like a gymnast doesn't need any weights to be strong. But half the people, majority of the people, wouldn't be able to do what a gymnast can do. Just some of the holds that they can do. So we have this element as well. So I think getting the kids prepared and ready, I think will take off. Just because we know, in terms of, if we look abroad as well, that you'll go to America and you got flipping kids in 5th grade, 6th grade, or whatever it is in school. They're lifting weights, and we're looking at go to the Olympics and seeing how they're developing and how these people are so far ahead, and we're so.
America's got the sports science. That's why they, even for football, soccer as they call it, they're coming, because they've got everything. They've got all the facilities, the science, everything behind them to really. Same
as China, because they put in so much effort into, and they're so disciplined, and they start them young as well. And this is what they're getting into. I think America, Look at it. Like the whole country, whatever. Look how many sports they got, and they're just on sports, but they're on very disciplined and they love it as well, and they put everything into it. And it's such a passion over there. I love it, man. I literally love it, and I think more of it, obviously, over here. But we, like I said, we do have really good sportsmen and women and sports facilities that are set up over here as well. So it's just getting them known and getting them out there and start lifting it.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's good. Listen, Wade, you know, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on, you know, and sharing some of them words of wisdom and your experiences in the game with us, you know, and giving back. We'll get you to sign the Hardwork Project ball as well.
I can't remember the last time I've done this.
Go on. Yeah, me.
When I retired, I think I was writing. I think it was my signature. I can't remember what it was for. Like, just on the bottom of papers and stuff and signing. And I was getting into putting my actual squad number on there because I used to just do it.
What was your squad number?
My most famous one was number 8, I would say, at Wimbledon, because that was Robbie Earls, and he retired, and then I got that number straight away.
The big man like Robbie Earls.
Yeah.
You know? Legend. Yeah, man. Thanks once again for coming on, Wadey. Really appreciate that.
No worries, man.
Again, thank you guys for supporting us. Remember to go and check out the Patreon. You know, check out the Patreon. Go on there, support it. We've got lots of merchandise, lots of free stuff to give away, you know what I mean? And that the support is really appreciated. Again, big up these lot, Mindkite, you know, their mindfulness app. They're doing a lot of good stuff in the community. So check them out on their Instagram as well. You know, they deal with mindfulness and mental health and mental well-being. My guy there in the corner, Forever Young Couture, Chris, big up yourself, you know what I mean? Check out his clothing line. You can catch them on Instagram and on all the places where you go to buy your stuff. And that has been the Hard Work Project. Thanks again. We're out.